Now 250,000. Now I'm going to get 275. High, I'm going to get 275. 3. Now 300,000. Now 3 1/4, 325. High, I'm going to get 3 1/4, I'm going to get 325. Now half. Now I'm going to get 300,000. And good morning from Dallas, Texas at Lincoln Center at the intersection of the LBJ Freeway and the North Dallas Tollway, or the Dallas North Toll. You know, I always say that opposite every time. I don't know why. It's just easy to do, I guess. And I lived on it. And I almost live on it now. That's crazy. Anyway, we're here in Dallas and excited for the new year. Happy New Year, and congratulations to our Dallas Cowboys on their playoff victory yesterday. We're excited about that.
Yeah.
And evidently, Zach, they are headed to Los Angeles to take on that team, which has had a pretty fair run.
Yeah, some hot takes in the studio right before we started recording on the Dallas Cowboys, but all good things. I'm excited to see where they go.
Well, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, but the playoffs in general have been really pretty cool. I mean, I've enjoyed watching it. I'm watching teams I never watched, never cared about. You know,
It's good football.
It's been great football.
Yeah.
Speaking of great football, let's talk about auctions and let's talk about real estate. As we enter the new year, of course, we're always jazzed up when we come back after the holidays because it means it's time to get back to work and get back to doing what we do. And my guest today is going to be Mark Woodling. He's our vice president with United Strategic Client Services, SCS. And our offices are right down the hallway from the studio. And so we want to welcome you all to the show today. And then, Mark, Happy New Year.
Good morning.
So Mark and I are going to talk about what we do, properties that we're involved in, properties that he is specifically working on, and then how our processes work. We're going to talk about marketing and how we deal with not only national properties from California to New York, but also international properties outside of the United States. Not only auction, but marketing properties traditionally as well, because not every property is specific for auction. And we just try to make sure that our processes match the client and the property. So, Mark, why don't you kind of get started on what we're going to talk about today?
Sure. Thanks for having me on, Mike. This is always a good opportunity to catch up and tell the world a little bit about what we're doing, because you're exactly right. When we walk in the door, most people say, "Oh, those guys are auctioneers," and we do auctions maybe about 20% of the time, but the other 80% is really about marketing. And so at United Country and United Real Estate, our agents turn to us and they need us for marketing purposes. They can do the front end sales, they can be boots on the ground, but what they turn to us is say, the amount of marketing that goes into these properties is just too much for me to be able to handle, my other job, which is out there being in the field. So we need somebody to be the desk job. And that's really where we excel, because we can't be in all these places at one time across the country. So, really our model is set up so perfectly where we could be desk jockeys in a lot of ways, go out and visit properties when we need to, but we don't have to be there spending time flying back and forth. So, we can really look at this from more of a national or global perspective of where buyers are coming from, where sellers are, what their needs are across the country, and playing matchmaker. So, really what we're doing today, that's just a bit different from the specific real estate that we're selling, is we're selling a lot more businesses. We're selling commercial property that comes with those businesses, and we're partnering up with our agents that are in Panama, the country, not Panama City, all the way down to Kerrville, Texas, outside of San Antonio in the Hill Country. So our agents are turning to us and saying, "You know what, Mark? We have a great lead. We know what we're doing. We don't have all the resources," because especially selling a business, that can take up a tremendous amount of time. So they're asking us to partner up with them, step in, put a different perspective on how we market the properties and try and draw an interested audience in.
Quite frankly, you talked about marketing and how we're able to partner up with these people. The other piece of this pie is in regard to what they can and cannot do. One of the things that's prohibitive for our offices and our outside strategic partners is they simply don't have the funds to go to every conference and learn how to sell a business, or go to every conference and learn how to sell land. If an independent agent in an office tries to go to every event that they need to go to, they'd be broke all the time because they'd never be in the office. And that's one of the things that we can bring to the table is the marketing piece out of Kansas City, which they do the bulk of the marketing. We do our own local marketing, and we'll do some regional marketing. But when it comes to a bigger concerted effort, it's going to come a joint venture between us and EMS, Enhanced Marketing Services or Solutions, whatever you want to call the specific. But we just call them EMS. And we started that division. You know, I mean, it was created specifically for our auctioneers and for our offices that need help. So you're exactly right. We can help anybody sell just about anything they want because we have the expertise and we have the specialty property groups within our company. The other thing that we need to mention too with United Country and United Real Estate is our combined number of offices between United Country and United. We have right at 700 offices when you get right down to it. And so we're right at 100 offices with United Real Estate right now, and we are opening offices all the time. So, you know, I want to remind people of that. A lot of people go, well, I haven't heard of this company, I haven't heard of that company. Well, if you haven't heard of it, you need to get prepared because they're going to hear about it.
That's right.
So let's talk about some specific projects that you're working on right now.
Sure. So let's jump into the first one, which is an auction, actually, right outside of Kansas City, Missouri, in Kansas City, Kansas. And this is where actually our home office is. So we have some great contacts out there. And a seller turned to us that owns car dealerships, and they said, you know, we had planned for the future, and we bought this tract of land, and we just weren't able to expand our business, but it's a great track right by the Kansas City or Kansas Motor Speedway. So you have a ton of entertainment in the area, hotels popping up, the Dairy Farmers of America, that's where their national headquarters is, and huge outlet shopping. So this seller turned to us and said, we had a change in our family dynamic. There was a brother that was kind of holding things back where they would get some great offers in and they would reject it. And they said, you know what, the brother is now, he's a bit sick and he's not a part of the picture. So we can finally move this forward because it's costing us quite a bit. Their mortgage is quite expensive. So they want to go ahead and move the property, and they said auction is the way to go. But they've had it on the market for 5 years. And finally, they just really said, it's time. We want to control when it sells, so we need your help. So we've partnered up with not only Sean Terrell with our local United Country office that's doing the brokerage. We're going to assist with the auction services. And then we've actually also partnered up with Colliers International, who is a strategic partner of ours and has great buyers that may be multifamily developers, hotel developers, and restaurant owners, you name it. So really it's a blank slate. There's a lot of different uses for this property. So the way we've gone about it is set up a website. We've really dove in very deep to make sure that we understand the intricacies of the property. There's transmission lines going right through the middle of it. And for the right price, somebody can pick up this property, move those transmission lines, do the right grading, and get it prepared to have a beautiful, commercial building, hotel, you name it, with all the international interest that's coming out for the Kansas Speedway. And they can pretty much develop on this at any point. And what the cool part is since it's an auction, they get to name their own price.
Right.
And we've set it up as a sealed bid sale, meaning there's no transparency. There's no open bid calling. So any buyer can come in, submit an offer, but they don't get to see what their competition's submitting as well in terms of that open, transparent auction. So you pretty much name your offer, and the sellers are ready to make a deal.
I was on the initial phone call on this. I haven't been involved in the day-to-day stuff on it, but on the original call, and this was a well-established family in Kansas City, Missouri. This was a family that has owned car dealerships for many years, very respected, very well known. The father figure behind it, he was in favor of this property. That's why they've had it as long as they have. It's just that, with the brothers, situation, one's been waiting for the other one to agree to the terms and move it, and they just never could come to terms. And so it's an interesting thing, and this is also a kind of a lesson for other people. If you've got a situation where maybe you have family members that can't agree on something, or you have business partners that don't agree on something, or there's a divorce situation, this is a perfect example of how once you can make a move with an auction, whether it's a sealed bid or a live public outcry. This particular property, you were mentioning it's across from the Kansas Motor Speedway. It's also across from Legends. And Legends, because I lived in Kansas City for 8 years when I was starting this division, that's here in Dallas-Fort Worth, we have Nebraska Furniture Mart, which we actually opened Nebraska Furniture Mart with Warren Buffett. When he came down, we did a big fundraiser, had about 3,000 people there. Well, I bought all my furniture at Nebraska in Kansas City, and so it is a huge destination. I mean, there's a casino there, there's furniture stores, there's just about every type of retail. IKEA is there. So this is directly across the street. So for someone who wants to build a business, it's the perfect location. It really is. The transmission lines, that's just a detail. They wouldn't have bought this property if they didn't have their vision. It was going to be a large car dealership. That was the original plan. It just so happens, it just never happened. They probably spent their money somewhere else or developed another piece of property. But this is an anchor corner. This is a great corner, so we should have good luck with it.
Absolutely. And really where we were able to make a difference on the marketing was we created a very strategic list of buyers or potential buyers that were in the KC market, or even national players that are looking to expand into markets that have a better affordability rate. Moving from the East Coast or West Coast, Kansas City is prime for a deal in terms of what you can buy in terms of price per square foot. So, this is just a really cool opportunity, but we were able to create a really neat list from everybody from Top Golf, which would be a perfect location for that with all the entertainment in the area, to even a go-kart little area. So, there could be hotels, but I would say commercial development's slowing down quite a bit. So it's nice to be able to go a little bit outside the box, and that's where we're kicking in and putting together that list of about 500 different parties that would be very strategic. So,
what's the website for it?
So the website, we may need a little help on that, Zach. This one's
yes,
it's a little longer.
It is the legendslandauction.com.
The Legends Land.
Yeah.
All right.
Beautiful site, by the way. We've also got a video. I don't know if we have time for that.
Yeah, play it away
Yeah.
if you want.
All right, yeah.
Go ahead.
Not a bad little view.
No, not bad at all.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. All bids are due on January 30th at the sealed bid auction. So for those at home, or listening on the radio, just got a nice little bit of music. Basically, it was a great video showing all the aerial views of the Kansas Speedway and the surrounding areas with the Legends.
Yep, it's a great way to start the year. What's your next property?
So the next property is a window company business that we're selling in Georgia. And one of the neat perspectives about what we're doing at United SCS is we're not only selling commercial properties, but we may have businesses that are operating and quite profitable. And so we've become a business brokerage over the last few years. We are a franchise owner of the Sunbelt Business Brokerage franchise system, and that gives us an opportunity to market in ways that we haven't been able to market before. So this is a window company that's based in Georgia, and it is doing a lot of different things in the market, but really their niche is in the hotel industry. So they are looking to retire, and they're really looking for an exit. And it doesn't happen overnight. Properties and businesses like this, they need time. You have to prepare the financials and get everything ready to be presented to the market so you can find the right qualified buyers. So very much like real estate, but you're adding a new component with the financial aspect of it. That's really been a key growth opportunity for us at United SCS. And we're working with our local United Country and United Real Estate offices that may come across deals like this. So it's just another way for our offices or partners, strategic partners, to refer properties, businesses to us, and let us help them make some money and grow their own businesses.
Sure. Well, it's businesses go hand in hand with what we do. It just does. I've been the liaison between United Country and Colliers, and now that we have United Real Estate, so on the commercial side, we have a great relationship with Colliers, and that's it's all over. I mean, that's internationally. And then you take a look at this business brokerage that we have. This has really added a special touch to what we already were doing. But the beautiful thing is we can do this anywhere. We're not limited to Dallas. We're not limited to Kansas City. We're not limited to Texas. We're doing this literally coast to coast. So whether you're trying to sell an almond farm in California or you're trying to sell a dude ranch in Phoenix, it doesn't really matter what it is, because we're going to bring on the team that's going to be specific to what it's going to take to get it sold. Now, you may or may not be happy with what it sells for. I always tell people it's not a silver bullet. Nothing's perfect, but it's going to have the greatest exposure it will ever have. We can't make something out of nothing. I just looked at a property last week in outside of New Orleans, and great guy. We had a lot in common. I've known his son for years, for about 4 or 5 years, and and he's a very successful oil and gas guy. I mean, offshore, big time, and had several ports, actually owned ports. And I looked at his property, and he's had it listed for several years, and I just had to be honest. I just told him, and that's what they're going to get from us, is our perspective. Now, you can have a beautiful property, but it can have certain things that don't make it a great property for somebody to buy, because maybe you have, for example, the property we worked on over in Georgia, the Kenny Rogers property, is a perfect example. It's a gorgeous property, but you wouldn't, you'd be challenged. You would have to have a lot of money to support that project. And everything I've looked at in the last 6 months, probably 50% or at least 50% of them are prohibitive because of the overhead, the carrying cost. And so, and you're well aware of that.
Absolutely. We see that, and we tend to call those a bit of a hobby business. Luckily this window company is very profitable, and it's in the middle of a booming market, especially in the Southeast, where new multifamily hotels are being developed. But to touch on hobby businesses, we're selling a winery in Kerrville, Texas.
Yep.
I think it's a perfect example to shift over to that, Zach. This is the winery business is great. Everybody loves a glass of wine. They love going to wineries, relaxing out there, especially if they have a great tasting room. But it typically isn't a very well-run organization because of the competition. Some of the larger wineries across the country that just know how to do it cheaper, faster, and just a little bit smarter. But those types of businesses we see very often, and really to sell the sum of the parts is going to give the seller more value, because the business isn't able to show profitability. So really it's just a straight up asset. It's the real estate, it's the machinery, it's the inventory that they have on hand of the wine. And so we come across these quite a bit, and we definitely know how to market them, but they aren't the quickest to sell, because people know the time and effort and labor that goes into these projects.
Well, as you know, we've worked on various wineries, and these are boutique businesses. It seems like I talked to somebody last week. They said, I want to own a winery. One of our own people. They go like, I want to own a winery, and I'm going, well, okay. So she's doing her research right now, and I think that's brilliant. You need to do your research, but I agree. When you're buying things, you have to look at their history. They are telling me now this is the perfect time to buy this Kerrville property, and I'll tell you why. They know that the winery business specifically in Kerrville and Fredericksburg. I was down there about 6 months ago, and they're predicting that there will be more wineries, like 50 to 100, in the next 10 years coming into that area. So there will be demand. I literally believe you could buy this property, sit on it a few years, and flip it and make money on it, which is not always the case with every winery. It just depends on location. You can't beat the hill country.
Yeah.
You just cannot beat the hill country for just about anything, because it's a destination. It's where people want to go to get away. And so it's a good one.
Yeah, and I think to note on that, people are buying them and they're changing hands for the right reasons, because people who have that little bit of extra information, or they've been in the business before or see the advantage of the long term, they're buying into it. Certain owners, though, they don't treat it the same. They're getting tired, they're getting older, and profitability just isn't there. But it is for somebody that has that energy to come in and do something new. But the wine industry is very interesting, because no matter what, during the downturns or positive market, really top markets, people still drink wine. It's just a matter of what can they afford to be able to spend.
Well, and I was going to bring that up too. Everybody's perfect lifestyle is, hey, let's go to Napa or Sonoma and let's put a winery in. Well, your sticker shock in Northern California. When I was a kid, when I was about 12 years old, about 12, we lived about 30 minutes from Napa. And so I was very familiar. When there was nothing going on in Napa, there was no visitors bureau. There was no, there were no tours. There were no buses. There was no Sonoma Speedway. All the destination points out there. And so what I would say is, probably 95% of the United States can't afford anywhere in that area. You're going to have to do it somewhere else. And that's the beautiful thing about Texas, of course. It's pro-business, pro-location, and it's a boutique business. If you're going to get in one, no better place than Fredericksburg or Kerrville, when you can get to Austin or San Antonio within 2 hours, hour and a half.
So this is the only winery in Kerrville. So they really have a corner on the market. People that want to keep it local, spend the afternoon there, and then drive just a few miles home. That's really everything that you have. But what I've been most excited about with this property and the business is that you can do a lot of other things here on site. Mm-hmm. I got married a year ago. Mike, we were there at the wedding.
Yep.
It is a booming industry. You can make so much money off just hosting events there.
Yep. And
then having the different vendors that you call on regularly and, skim a little bit off of what they're making, ask for a referral, from them.
Sure.
So between that, a bed and breakfast, you can really build whatever it is you want. This has 30 acres. It has the business in place, all the operating licenses. The things that are tough to come by, you can have that turnkey.
Well, the painful things, the things that take time, take patience. Most people don't have patience today when it comes to everything looks simple until you get ready to do it, and then it's like, well, I didn't know I have to have that license. Yeah, right. And who do I have to go through? Well, there is a government organization that you have to go through. There's the locals. Look, anytime you can do a turnkey purchase and have all the things in place, that's the route to go. I absolutely agree.
Sure. I mean, we had great success in the Walla Walla, Washington winery sale that we did about a year and a half ago.
Walla Walla, Washington.
Walla Walla, Washington. That's the Columbia Valley to those that don't want to say Walla Walla.
I absolutely love saying Walla Walla. If you're an auctioneer, what better thing than to sit around talking about Walla Walla, Washington?
Right. Columbia Valley, I think it's in Columbia. Walla Walla, I know that's in Washington. So they may want to rebrand that. But
there's a lot. By the way, there's a lot of people from Seattle that are drinking wine probably right now.
Cowboys
after the game.
Yeah. Well, those are fun ones to look at. So the winery industry will always be there. Drinking will always be there. People have a thirst for it, no matter what market it is. Up markets, down markets. So if you're interested, go to txwinery.com.
Good. What's next, Mark?
So, I'm trying to mix it up a little bit. I mean, these are all very fun and interesting properties. I think one of the most exotic ones is the hotel in the country of Panama. It's a little town called Bocas del Toro. That's really an island town. It is a really interesting story where three brothers had the dream. Some of them, one lived in Michigan, I think the other one Arizona.
We're not talking about Manny, Mo, and Jack, are we?
No, these are three wise men, let me tell you. No, but three really intelligent men. One is a multifamily developer, and he said, you know what? I know how to build, and let's go somewhere where there's, tax advantages that we can go and hang out with our families and do something to more American standards. Yep. Because there's really a missing market there where this was really a small backpacker, younger clientele coming in, and they said there's an older group that wants to spend money, but they know it's cheap, and they may be expats that want to live there for the long term and own. Maybe just live there, have a place for family to stay. So they built this hotel back in about 2010, and they've had some unfortunate family circumstances, and they've gotten to the point where they said, it's time to sell. But they have been top rated on TripAdvisor. They've really done very well in keeping up the property, especially properties that are on the water. They can fall apart quite quickly, but they have done a really incredible job keeping this one up to a standard, especially for keeping their ratings top notch on all those different travel websites. But anyways, it's 15 rooms. It's again on the water. It's really a great opportunity because they spent about $2.6 million just building it with the land. And they put it on the market for about $1.95 million, and now they've taken it down in price to $1.65 million. So this is a turnkey business with a restaurant that has a lease on spot that's going to continue operating. And so anybody that comes here, they'll get all the furniture, they'll have the leases in place, they'll have the staff in place, and it really is just an awesome place if you're going to be an owner-operator that's very hands-on.
Yeah. So this would be like a boutique business that they could live on site. They could live there. They could retire there. It's kind of the perfect situation.
It is, especially for the baby boomer generation right now, where people may not have saved enough money for a very comfortable retirement in the United States.
You talking about me?
No. I'm saying the baby boomers retiring right this second.
Zach.
Yeah.
I think he called me out.
I have to say, you're not a big saver, huh, Mike? Is that what I'm hearing?
Not looking good.
Mike lives large, but hey.
I have to go to Panama. I'll be changing beds here.
Hey, this is an opportunity, though, that somebody could move there, have great tax advantages, and be able to spend some time there, some time back in the United States, and just bounce back and forth. But you're really living in paradise. So I don't want to make it too salesy, but I cannot wait to go here. I haven't been yet, but it's a direct flight from Dallas-Fort Worth to Panama City, and then just a little puddle jumper of about 30 minutes to this Bocas del Toro.
Yeah. Well, we've had some experience down in Costa Rica. All of that Central America area is becoming more and more a part of what we do. So Panama is a perfect fit for what we, the people that we're trying to talk to about the property, work for, or sell the property, or for those that are looking for property. So that they need to look at our websites, the United Country websites. They need to be looking at the United Real Estate websites, Strategic Client Services websites as well. We need to remind people of what our website is, where they can go, or on Facebook, they can go there as well. That's another example of a property that's unique, boutique, and potentially a really nice way to operate a business. I know you have another one coming up. Let's talk about at least one more before we go today.
Sure. Let me just scroll up for one last second. Actually, Zach, go up and see the picture of Jimmy Buffett in front of the property.
Is that up here? Did I miss that?
Yeah,
I missed Buffett? No way.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
He's covert. He's got sunglasses and hat on. Yeah.
There's Jimmy Buffett.
The man.
Yeah, he brings his boat through during hurricane season. He stops through there quite often. So this is his hotel. So they've actually his hotel is in his go-to hotel, but the penthouse suite is now nicknamed the Jimmy Buffett Suite because that's where he stays, and his entourage. So it's if that tells you anything, it really shows that this is something that is even fit for millionaires. Who knows if he's, you know, close to the billionaire status. But, you know, it really is something for everybody. But, yeah, check out PanamaHotelForSale.com. You can also find it on our website, United-SCS.com. And take a look. And if you're interested, we'll even throw in a free night or two if you want to go down there, stay, check it out. I think it's a cool opportunity just to kind of get some interest. But right now, when it's quote unquote cold outside, not in Texas, but wherever you're listening from, it's a great place because this is high season. This is when people go down there. And really, it's December, January, February, March is the best time to be down there.
Yeah.
Shoot, guys, I'm interested. Can I slide you my passport? Can you make that happen?
Well, we can make things
See you
happen.
down there.
Yeah, we'll have to do something with you, Zach. What's your next one?
Yeah, so maybe we just talk about one that's coming up that we're working on. It's a hydroponic farm in California that is growing basil, and we're just about to take a closer look and actually to get this under contract to list it. But
are you sure it's basil?
Yeah, 100%.
Just checking.
But go down.
Why did I laugh at that?
Because I laughed at it.
We'll just say there's some alternative crop opportunities that could come with this.
Sure.
But it is a hot topic right now, especially with hemp having just passed the Farm Bill and is now legal in the United States. Before, it was a little bit of a gray area in terms of, you know, whether it was legal or not, and states were being bold and saying what they would approve or not. But this is a great highlighted opportunity of, you know, the types of crossover between what we do at United Real Estate and United Country. Yeah. United Country very much on the farming side, yet this is outside San Diego, and San Diego is, you know, a very urban market, and we actually have a United Real Estate office there. Yeah. So we chose to go with more of a business approach because Jim Long, the broker owner of the United Real Estate San Diego office, has a great background, and he has a very large book of business in terms of clientele that he could present this to and show interest. So between what we can do on the marketing side with United Country and what Jim can do from a boots on the ground local perspective and his contacts, this should be just that perfect sweet spot of what we do as United as a family. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good. Anything else about that property?
You know, we don't have the listing quite yet, but we're very engaged in that. So, you know, stay tuned. I would say the one thing to highlight on this is that we'll be selling it as a business, and it's not just a farm. So it's not just growing the basil. They actually have a training institute there that is in affiliation with the local University of California College and University, but they're helping train veterans who are coming back overseas and training them to find jobs in the world. And this is a perfect opportunity because it's very hands-on. It's not a desk job. You can be out there in the field, but they're teaching veterans how to farm, how to operate their own businesses, and take this, take their own little business opportunity to another level. So it's just a really great company. Everything they stand for is something that not only will we be able to market, I think the market's going to accept it very quickly and get some good publicity from it. So I think we're going to take this one, and it'll be a quick sale, we hope.
Good. I just want to mention one thing. We've been working on autumn antlers up in Minnesota, outside of Brainerd. And we have extended that offering. If people are interested in autumn antlers, that is the high fence ranch up there. Somebody asked about that the other day, and I said, well, we have multiple parties that are interested in the property, and most of them are, let's just say that they're of higher net worth than the average bear. And we've had multiple requests to have more due diligence time on that. So if you're interested in autumn antlers, they need to check out our website on that. Tell them again what our website is.
Sure, let's just go with this, United-SCS.com.
Right, and
that's
can go
all
there.
A mouthful.
Yeah, and also we'd love for people to go to United SCS Facebook page, and also like it. and then pay attention to it, keep up with it, because we're always adding new properties. If they're interested, they need to go there on a regular basis and check it out. Also, our United Country website, we recommend they do that. We also have United Country Auction Services. We have over 250 auctioneers in our company that's been built up over the last 11 years. So we have auctions going on all the time. There's a full, there we go. There's Autumn Antlers.
Yeah, I got that pulled up.
Thank you very much. That was
beautiful out there.
You're very efficient.
Thank you.
You're very efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it should have the website on there, too, probably towards the bottom. There we go.
TrophyWhitetailLodge.com. That's the one.
TrophyWhitetailLodge.com. Well, that's great. Well, guys, it was great. Zach, thanks for being here again this morning. Mark, as always, I'll see you in our office shortly here at Lincoln Center. So on behalf, I want to go ahead and exit now at this time and just say thank you for joining us. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Nope, just thank you for having me on, and we'll keep you updated on how all these sales are going, and we'll tune in next time.
Very good. Well, on behalf of Zach and Mark and everybody that's been a part of this one, we appreciate each and every one of you joining us each week, and join us again next time for the Mike McGavel Jones Show as we talk about the latest things happening and real estate and business and sports and you name it, we got it. And our next show will be having the great Eric Nadell from the Texas Rangers. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time from Dallas.